James Hunt and Niki Lauda held the most well-known rivalry in Formula One history, but it wasn't all as it seemed for the pair. The rivalry between races lasted almost a full decade, becoming so iconic to the sport that it was immortalized in mainstream pop culture with the 2013 film Rush. Although the film captured their sporting competitiveness, the pair were actually close friends off the track, having first met in Formula 3. Surrey-born Hunt was the son of a stockbroker, and at first an unlikely competitor for the races as he first learned to drive a tractor before stepping foot in a car. Hunt was no stranger to controversies, and by the time he made it into Formula One in 1973, he was not taken all that seriously by his competitors. However, by the end of the season, he had received the Campbell Trophy from the RAC, cementing his performance as the best in Formula One by a British driver, returning home a sporting hero. Lauda had taken to the front of the pack early on in his racing career, and by the end of it would have 3 Formula One wins under his belt. He was also the first and only driver in Formula One history to have won for both Ferrari and McLaren. He began snatching victories everywhere he could, and became the first driver to lap the Nürburgring Nordschleife in less than 7 minutes. At the time, it wasn't uncommon for Lauda to trade his trophies to his local garage in exchange for getting his car washed and serviced. Both Lauda and Hunt knew exactly the type of risks they were taking with this career path, as well as racing in the sport's most dangerous era. The pair saw many Formula One drivers leave their lives on the track, or found themselves unable to walk away after a crash, but neither suspected who would be next on that list when their rivalry came to a head. In 1976, Lauda was dominating the circuits and seemed destined for the podium with his Ferrari team behind him. Hunt was driving for McLaren, extending the rivalry beyond the two men and creating a battle for the most successful constructor as well. With a movie-like twist, Hunt would get the championship away from Lauda, winning by a single point and closing one of the most infamous Formula One seasons in recent history. On the second lap of the Nürburgring track in August 1976, Lauda lost control of his car and crashed into a wall. Spectators and racers alike were horrified when his car burst into flames, drifted onto the track and was hit by another car, all while Lauda was still strapped into the driver's seat. Lauda would spend nearly a full minute in the burning vehicle breathing toxic fumes, while racers swarmed the car desperately trying to pull him from the wreckage. He suffered severe burns across most of his body, with even his scalp being charred by the flames. Lauda was alert and speaking to the other racers when they eventually managed to get his seatbelt off, but would slip into a coma in the hospital. The situation was so severe at one point the doctors called in a priest to administer his last rites, believing his lungs were too far gone. The race was stopped and restarted whilst Lauda was taken to hospital, with the severity of the track showcasing itself as only 20 of the original 28 restarted the race. Although he has no memory of the crash, the scars never left Lauda although they never stopped him. Following the accident, Lauda would return straight to the track, albeit having a few panic attacks and issues in his first practices and returned to the Grand Prix after missing just 2 races. Hunt would go on to win the championship entirely, but noted his regret at the circumstances the season had been under. He said following his win, "I feel really sorry for Niki, I feel sorry for everybody that the race had to be run in such ridiculous circumstances, and quite honestly, you know I wanted to win the championship, and I felt that I deserved to win the championship." I also felt that Niki deserved to win the championship, and I just wish we could have shared it. Lauda also commented on Hunt's 1975 win saying, "If anybody should get the championship, then I'm happy it's James. This would be Hunt's only championship win in his racing career." Hunt need not have worried though, as Lauda would add the 1977 championship to his 1975 win, and then later a 1984 victory as well. Throughout their years racing together, Lauda would find himself in the McLaren pit talking to Hunt, a very opposing picture to that portrayed in the movie Rush. At the time of Hunt's sudden death in 1993, Lauda shared, "People always think of us as rivals, but he was among the very few I liked and even fewer that I respected. He remains the only person I envied."